going on in the last 3 weeks.
Uh,
Jasper.
there we go. Yes. Okay.
You want to say hello to
Yeah, you want to say hello because we're talking about Black excellence. And I thought I hit the record button, but this is a live show, guys. But now we are live. We're 17 seconds into it. So good evening, guys. It's Frankie P, BS of Entrepreneurship Podcast.
And it's Maria P.
That's
How you doing?
And this evening, you are in for a treat. Promise you, you are in for a treat. We're talking to Miss DC Teen USA, the reigning 2024 Miss DC Teen USA, and she's going to share with you some of the things that you're not maybe familiar with the DC with the pageant, some of the ups, some of the downs, some of the things that it takes to actually be a contestant, and not only be a contestant, but guess what? To win. And here's
our Black Kitty.
Yes, he's making his weekly
Say
appearance.
hi, Jess.
He's making his weekly appearance.
We don't play about ours. Get down.
So as I look to get this together, go ahead, Maria. While I look to make sure I get.
You want me
Bring,
to
I want to make sure. Yeah, I want to make sure I bring her on. There she is.
The beautiful.
There she is. Yes, we got
the reigning.
Yes. Thank you guys for having me.
Yes.
We are delighted to have you. Excited, and we want people to know just what it takes to be a part of a pageant and all the hard work that you put in. I don't know firsthand. I know secondhand because Mama sure told me a lot of what it takes. But let me introduce you properly so everybody knows who you are and what you stand for. Chelsea Chambers is a rising junior broadcast journalism major at Howard University and the reigning Miss District of Columbia Teen USA 2024. She represented DC at Miss Teen USA in Los Angeles, earning a top 20 placement as a panelist for Girls Inc., DC's Strong, Smart, and Boldest event. Chelsea inspired young women through her story. She founded the Broadcast Her initiative to spotlight women in media and journalism. Passionate about service, she volunteers with Girls with Purpose and Best Buddies, VA, DC. Chelsea hopes to attend law school to become a sports agent. She also enjoys tennis, singing, and dancing. Welcome, Chelsea.
Let's put a hey. Let's give a hand. Let's give a hand for Miss Chelsea. Yes.
And I hope we got that.
Welcome.
Since we were running.
Yeah, well,
so excited.
Just for our people on TikTok. So we have TikTok here, we have Facebook, and we have YouTube here. So welcome to our guests that are out there. And so Chelsea, let's hop right into it. First of all, thank you for coming in and being a part of this, and just and blessing us to give us some insight, some background of what it takes to be Miss DC Teen USA. So for those who don't know, can you just give us a little background about yourself before we jump into this?
How you got started?
Yeah, so I started pageants when I was 12 years old. I got a letter in the mail, and originally my mom, which happy Mother's Day, shout out to my mom.
Yeah.
My mom was actually the one who, she was like, I think this is a scam. Like, I don't think you should do this. So I convinced her to let me do it. And from 12 until now, I've been doing pageants. This past year, one of my goals was to go compete at Miss Teen USA, which is considered the big leagues. So I won Miss DC Teen USA in June after 3 years of trying, and I ended up winning, and then got to go to nationals in Los Angeles in August. So that was about 3 weeks later after I won, which was hectic, but it was so much fun. And I went and competed in Los Angeles and made top 20 there.
That is really great.
Wow.
So tell me, what kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Not encouragement, but what drew you to the pageant? I'm looking for Chelsea's face, and I'm looking at mine. What drew you to the pageant, Chelsea? What made you want to become a beauty pageant contestant? And tell me, what does it take? Kind of drive do you need to have? what about grades? What hobbies? What things do you need to do to become a part of the pageant, or that would excel you to become Miss Teen DC USA?
Miss DC Teen
Okay.
USA.
So for one, what drew me is I was always like I did dance, competitive dance. I always loved all things super girly, doing my hair, doing the makeup, the glitz and the glamour. And then I actually will watch Talas and Tiaras, which is like completely different for what I do because that's like super glitz, pageanty, like little kids in makeup. But what truly drew me was the fact that I would get skills that lasted longer than just competing on stage. So I got interview skills on how to interview and speak confidently in front.
Oh, did we?
Oh, you froze up just a little bit on us, Chelsea. You froze up just a little bit on this, Chelsea. I know you'll be back. So as soon as her screen unfreezes, we will definitely get back to her. So Maria, as far as black excellence, what does black excellence mean to you?
Black excellence to me should have gave me this question to ponder all day.
Yeah.
But I think black excellence is being articulate, uh, standing on your word. Okay,
Mm.
making sure that you are honest, trustworthy. Um, that whatever it is that you're doing, that you do it with passion, that you like it. If you don't like it, find something you do like, because it shows. It shows when you don't like what you're doing.
Yeah.
Um, Being proficient, all of those things, and nobody's perfect, but if you try to excel, you will become black excellence. Um, and it's hard. It's not something. It's something that you have to work on. You have to commit to. Um, and I'm not. I believe, some days I am black excellence, and some days
Hmm.
I'm like, ugh, I can't do it.
Sure.
But people, you have those days, but a majority of your time should be spent trying to what do we have to do? Be do your best,
Hmm.
be better than the rest. So that's what black excellence is to me. What is it to you?
Yeah. Well, to me, let's see what Chelsea is saying. Audio. Okay. So tell her to come back on. This request back on. Well, for me, black excellent. I think one of the things you said that definitely resonates with me is purity and being a person of your word. So whenever I'm interviewing for
Request to come back on.
yes, the request to come back on.
Okay.
Whenever I'm interviewing for someone to actually come on and work with me, one of the top three things, even if they're great at the particular job that they're doing, what I typically ask them is one, being a person of your word, meaning you're going to come to work and you're going to come to work every day. Number two, when you do come on time. And the third thing I typically look for is someone who's going to have a good attitude. If you have a positive attitude, the nuts and bolts of what we do, it looks like she's requesting back in. Let me see what I can do. Okay. All right. Can you hear us now, Chelsea?
Guess it's in the green room.
Okay. Let me see if I can pull you out of the green room, Chelsea. All
There we
right. There
go.
you
Okay,
go.
I can.
Is that better, Chelsea? Yes. Welcome
That's
back.
better. Yeah.
Welcome back. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So as far as we were just speaking about black excellence for us to again, where were you as far as being having black excellence? What does that mean to you?
It means a lot considering that I go to Howard and I'm surrounded by it every single day. So for me, it's just kind of like showing up in spaces that other people, outside people, may not see black people in, and it's somewhere that we need to be in. That's for me pageantry. A lot of black people don't understand the concept of pageantry or the importance of pageantry. And I found it gives me so much confidence. It allows me to speak eloquently and be able to go into an interview and not be nervous, or give a speech in front of the class and not be nervous. And I think that more people should be involved in pageantry, especially for young girls, because, I was shy at one point, and now I'm able to do interviews and talk and then do different events at Howard for myself, and for other people, but also within my education studies. I think Black excellence is so important. I hope to go into a male dominated industry, and I feel like having Black excellence has showed me that it's possible and that it's not something that is too taboo or something that's not possible. So
Mhm.
it's very important in my everyday life.
One thing I wanted to touch on, because I know you were speaking on how you have a lot of balls in the air and you're juggling, you're doing a lot of juggling, time management. So I wanted to find out, as far as what does a typical day look like for Chelsea, and how do you go about, because obviously you were in high school at the time, you were still doing the pageants, you were putting in for scholarships, we were doing interviews. How were you able to have that time management, and what did a typical day look like for Chelsea?
So now being in college, it's hectic, but it's a lot of fun. It's probably like the best year of my life. So I have all my classes in the morning so that I am able to do different events and things in the evening. So I'll probably have an 8 a.m. class, and I'll probably be in class from 8 to 1, just different classes in between then. And then I'm someone who prioritizes doing my homework early. So as soon as I get out of class, any work that I have, I try and get that off the way, and still sneak in some time for socialization. So getting lunch with my friends or something, at least an hour, just to kind of have that like self care time. It's something that I really enjoy doing. And then I usually will do an engagement or a different activity around 3, sometime in the evening, and I'm there for a couple hours. Then I come back and I get ready for bed. There's no like hanging out, because I have to get up at 8 o'clock for class again. So it's just kind of having discipline in myself and knowing that like I have these things to do. So let me manage my time wisely. My mom's also a teacher, so she always told me like do your work early so then you can have time to play. So that has remained in my head, is to do my work early, then I have time for whatever else.
I think that's a great way to be.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I wish I had those skills that you could have taught me when I was in high school. But they will translate. Those skills will definitely translate to
Yes.
to the workforce. And yeah, I really appreciate that you have seen that at a young age,
Mhm.
from 14,
Yeah.
15, all the way to
Even
18.
younger than that.
Oh, even
You
younger.
started at what,
Yeah.
11? When did you start?
I started competing 12, but I actually learned that because I was a competitive dancer from when I was like 5
Okay.
until high school. And
Hmm.
so we'd be going from like city to city to get me to dance. So I would have to do my homework in the car, then go to dance, and I'm coming
Mhm.
home from dance late, and it's like I need to go to bed because I have
Right.
school in the morning. So
Cool. Yeah.
So even now, your as far as your free time, not a lot of free time now.
no. And anytime I do have free time, I try and use it for like literally just sleeping, relaxing. But it's a good thing. Like I said, it took me 3 times to win Miss DC Teen USA and go to Miss Teen USA. And then even after that, I had 3 weeks to get everything together to go compete at a national competition. So I'm kind of used to going.
Mm.
Um, but anytime I do get free time, it's used to sleep.
So you talked about going into a male dominated
Feel.
yeah, field of also occupation. Tell us what you foresee yourself being in the next 5 years or so.
So I want to go to law school and study entertainment law specifically, but my undergrad degree is in broadcast journalism, so I really want to be on the camera, sports reporting. My dream is actually to report for the Super Bowl, preferably a Super Bowl that the Cowboys are in because that's my team. But
Uh,
Eh,
I hope
I don't
oh,
know. We might have to cut
I
this short.
what did
I
the
hope
volume go down? Did the volume?
I knew I was gonna ruffle some feathers, so I had to say it. But any team that's in the Super Bowl, I want to support. Even
Mhm.
this hurts me to say, but even if the Commanders are in it, I will support. It's okay, but um, either that or like I said, I'm going to law school, so I want to be an agent, negotiate some deals. A lot of people said they could see me as a lawyer, and I didn't think about doing that until I got to Howard, and I was like, I could do that. So I always want to have something in my back pocket, is what I
Mm.
like to say. I'm very multifaceted in what I do. So having different degrees is important to me, so that I'm well rounded and I can do a multitude of things.
Well, make sure you reach out to me because one of your mothers and our friends are he was a sports agent, so I think he could definitely give you some
Oh,
on on
yeah,
what to do,
Or how to get
yes,
how to
started,
get
great.
things
started.
like that. And
Yes.
the good, the bad, and the ugly, so that you're already prepared um, when you go there.
Yes,
That's
for
just
sure.
that is really great and refreshing to hear a young adult talking about discipline, professionalism, um, getting their work done first, prioritizing.
Hmm.
That we need more of you, Chelsea, out there. And I'm sure there are a lot of young ladies that are doing the right thing. And I know
Hmm.
that don't you do events like talking to younger kids about the pageant and things like that? Um, and I'm sure you're
Yes,
encouraging
I
that
go.
to.
You,
Hmm.
you, you
I
do
go
what?
into schools and talk to them. I
Mhm.
go into schools and I talk to them, and I really stress that is like having the discipline, but also like not letting other people tell you what you can and can't do. I
Right.
always say like adult encouragement is important, but also knowing yourself is even more important. When I went to the Girls Inc. panel, one of the questions was, "What can older generations learn from like the youth?" And I would just say like be open to what we have to offer as well, because a lot of times you get told to like listen to your elders, respect your elders, which of course, but I also do think that there is importance in learning from the younger generation. So kind of having that connection and share. So I really want younger generations to kind of like own who they are and be passionate about what they're passionate about because we know ourselves the best. Of course, we're going to have our adult influences, which are even more important to like lead us on the right path. But
Mhm.
it is important to do what you're passionate about as well.
Right, I guess be true to yourself with respect. How about that? Be true to yourself with respect.
Yeah.
Um, because
Yeah.
a lot of kids can be uh, given some negative feedback by adults. Oh,
Yeah.
you can't do that. Oh, that's not the thing to do. Or you want to do, and I personally, for mine, I didn't want to do that. I allow them to find their own way
Hmm.
and try to give guidance or what about this? Or have you thought about that? And I think that's more important than telling your children what they can't do or shouldn't do. You're thinking about being a, I don't know, a basketball
Yes.
player, and you see them, for trying to
Compete.
yeah, trying to compete for that dream, and maybe they're not that great. I don't think Michael Jordan was that great when he started out, but
But he actually got cut from
yeah,
his high school team.
but he had
Yeah.
drive, and that's what you're looking for in your children. Do they have that drive? Do they have that passion? I know for one of mine, I used to say, I don't know if you have real passion for that. They told me that they wanted to do a certain thing, and I'm like, but I don't see you doing this every day, or at least touching it every day. That's somebody with the passion and the drive that really wants this. Is that what you really want? Let's think about it.
Yeah.
um, I never said you can't do it or you'll never be this or that. I just wanted them to see it for
Mm.
themselves, and I think that's
Right.
important when it comes to being driven to do something. So,
Hmm.
And I like the fact that, and matter of fact, let us give you your flowers right now because you are uh, going to something that is non traditional. Because what we typically do, and I think Maria and I had this conversation a little earlier this morning, where a lot of parents, even in the black community or the white community, we both put our children into extracurricular activities and sports, for instance, because and this is not a this is just a generalization, not a specifically, but typically a lot oftentimes in the black community we put our kids into sports, basketball for instance, and they want to They have the dream of being a professional basketball player. But the sheer numbers, we already know. 500,000 basketball players are going to be in high school, and only 17,000 are going to get a scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, and so, and when you typically dwindle it down, you may have going professionally maybe seven will go professionally, and then that quote unquote job well is only going to be around typically for a career 5 to 7 years. So what do? You
Yeah.
get out, you're getting drafted at maybe 20, maybe 25. You're out of the league. So what are you going to do then? So I believe now, as far as encouragement from our community, we need to give the flowers and the encouragement to our young adults who are going out there, who are, and another thing that I'm going to encourage, especially even us
I know what it
older
is.
people, to take some risks, take some chances, because
Yes.
what I see is that we are so hemmed in on what is someone else going to say. And so I'm not even going to take the chance. But the person who's speaking about you or want to talk about you, they haven't even taken a chance. So why are you giving validity to someone who doesn't need that doesn't even hold a place that I hold up on a panel? I mean, on a what's it, portal?
On the
A
panel,
pedal.
On a, on a
pedestal,
pedestal, on a pedestal.
pedestal.
Yeah, I don't hold
Oh,
you on a
I know you know
pedestal.
that word. No.
I'm not holding you up on a pedestal, so why should what you think about me, whether I excel or whether I need to go try again? And that's all it is you just need to try again. Keep attempting it. Keep
Hmm.
going forward. And if you go forward, I guarantee you will succeed. Maria and I when we left the restaurant today, we were walking, and Maria says, "Oh, wait for me, hold my hand, hold my hand." And I was telling her that when two people are walking, something happens unconsciously. One person either slows down to keep up with the person behind them, or the person behind them has to speed up so both of them can walk lockstep. So what I ask young people is, what are you doing? Are you the person who has to slow down, and you're taking away from what your greatness could be to stay with someone, or are you keeping your pace up and you looking back and say, come on now, come on now, and you keep moving forward, and you tell them, come on now. You give them encouragement, but you can't stop on your dream or your goal because they refuse to try to
Yeah,
keep
a
up
lot of
with you.
people do that. You know, they feel this.
Yeah.
Uh, what is it? This need to bring that person, and that person's not coming. And and the thing about people are there for a season. What season are you in with this friendship?
Hmm.
Young people should really look at that and say, "Hey, do I? This is not me anymore. I need to move forward." Not that you
Yeah.
leave them behind, but you have to get them to understand that either you're coming with me, or I gotta go.
Yeah.
And there's something else I wanted to say. I
Absolutely.
know when he was really passionate about being a basketball player, and one day he came home. He says, "I'm just not. I'm not going to be a basketball player. I don't think that I'm good enough." And I said to him, "You are smart. You are intelligent. You're an honor roll
Yeah.
student." I said, "Let's focus on that." So at that, and he
Yeah.
looked, and a light bulb went off for him, and he said, "Okay." I said, "You can use your brains. You have athletics, or you
Hmm.
have brains. You got brains. Let's use those, and you can have just as much money as the basketball players. You just have to find out a different way of getting there." And that's it. And if you're
Yeah.
intelligent, you can do it. And so far, he's doing wonderful in Morehouse. He's almost done. He's almost done, y'all. But yes, but
I love that. I think that I think that also piggyback off what you're saying is that I think we limit ourselves sometimes, especially as kids, because we don't want to let our parents down or we are scared of what they might say. So I always say, like, have multiple things that you're passionate about, not just one, because 9 times out of 10, you might be disappointed with something, and that's okay,
mhm,
but have many things.
right.
So that's why I was like, okay, I can be a broadcast journalist, but I could also possibly be an agent. And then even once I get older, my goal is to have a mentorship program for young girls so that they can become journalists or do whatever they want to do, but therefore like I'll give them a scholarship to pursue whatever. But
Right.
that's going to come when I get some money. So I got to wait till I get some money. But once I do, I'll give them that scholarship and help them out. But yes, just being multifaceted is important too as well.
And I think, in our,
Let me reset this. I'm going to reset the table. And today we're speaking.
let me shut my
I'm,
mouth.
I'm just resetting the table. We're talking to Miss DC Team USA 2024, the reigning is it Queen? Is it the Queen?
Yes.
Okay.
Queen. Yeah,
Yes,
queen.
we
Yeah,
using the word.
older.
We're using the word, the reigning queen for 2024,
Yeah.
Miss Chelsea Chambers. And Maria, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
I forget, Maria's getting old, y'all. I can't keep it up here
Okay.
all the
Well,
time.
one thing
So,
that Chelsea that you touched on, and I was kind of curious about, as far as being an agent, are there some steps that you're looking to take, or what steps are you taking to become an agent? And I think, let me this
Well,
this is a backup question, because you are going into sports journalism. I think that it would be an end to some of the athletes who will need an agent. So that's very smart.
so did you
yes.
change
So
from,
that was kind of my thought.
yeah, did you change from journalism and now to law? You're going for law first, or
No, so I'm staying broadcast journalism, and I'm planning on minoring in poli sci so I can get that law foundation. But
okay.
then just going to law school and studying entertainment law because, like you said, I think it'll be helpful to kind of have that background in sports broadcast journalism. I already took a class, intro to sports journalism with what was his name? Oh, I forgot his name, but he's on Sports Center, and it was so cool to learn from him. And we kind of talked about just like different questions that the media might ask you. And I'm like, as an agent, this is so helpful to know these things so that you can therefore help your clients. So that's one step I'm already taking. I really want to intern with a sports agent, so that should be next to my agenda. But honestly, just learning as much as I can and possibly looking into what an NIL agent does and seeing how I can start there and then transition into a sports agent because NIL is super big now, especially with now that high school students can get it, college students can get it. And I would, if that was me, or I would want someone to have my best interest when it came to like NIL and dealing with money, especially at a young age.
Mhm.
So, gonna look into that and see how that works. But overall, just starting with taking those sports journalism classes has been super helpful because now I'm thinking, how can I better help my clients once I get older?
Okay.
Wow.
So if you could be anybody's agent out there today, who would it be? Who would you?
Okay, so I really love the Sanders family, like Dion,
Oh,
Shador, Shiloh. I love the family. So I would honestly be an agent. Well, I heard um, Shiloh was looking for a new agent after the whole draft fiasco. So I would be their agent and I would help them out. But I can't be their agent right now because I don't know too much and I don't
right,
wanna mess them up. But they're pretty good. But if it was anybody, it would probably be with the Sanders family because they just seem so down to earth.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
are. They're very That's a spectacular
Mm.
family.
Oh, I love them.
It is. It is.
Yeah. So, but the last thing, one of the last things, as we land this plane here, and I totally appreciate you taking your time to just to
Hmm.
uh, take a couple of minutes with us, Chelsea. Appreciate that. But as far as I wanted to talk about, and maybe even see if anything is happening on Howard's campus now, as far as unity. I know you guys probably talk about Black unity on campus. What are some of the things that I guess maybe some of the clubs or some of the um, are they clubs or some of the
Yeah.
okay, some of the clubs that are putting together to form anything as far as Black unity on the campus?
So at Howard, I feel like because we're all black, there's always unity in everything that we do, no matter what. So increased awareness is a big thing of everything that's happening in our country and that could possibly affect any student that's at Howard, because we have a lot of international students. I don't think a lot of people realize that is Howard is so amazing and so diverse in the Black culture. And so with the new administration within the government, a lot of people aren't able to go home or to travel or to go back and see their family. So we're kind of like banding together to make sure that those people, those international students that can't go home, they still have a community here.
Mhm.
One of my good friends from Canada, so she can't go home. So I'm already planning things for us to do so that she doesn't feel so away from her family. But one way I really saw unity was this past November after the, well, during the election. We were so blessed to actually have Kamala hold her election party with us
Mm.
on campus. The
Mhm.
whole campus was shut down. I was actually invited by her team as a creator, so that was super cool. But to kind of see my whole school come together for our very first big political engagement, because it was my first time voting and it was so many other people's first time voting. And so for an alum to be there and to see that many people fill the yard with excitement, with enthusiasm, was a big way to show unity. But I think it showed even more unity in the following day during her, I think it's called a concession speech,
Yes,
and seeing everyone still show up, even though they were sad, even though they felt some type of way, seeing everyone still show up and kind of lean on each other for comfort and support was very important. There's a lot of things going on with deportation right now. So ICE was actually at Howard and people were informing everyone. So I feel like that unity is really like making sure that everyone's okay, making sure that everyone's safe, no matter what the situation is, whether it's big or small. And I feel so happy and grateful that I'm able to go to Howard at this time because we have a community. So I never feel stressed. I never feel in fear of what may happen because our students, our administration is very reassuring in everything that is going on. So being surrounded by Black people is very comforting. I almost went to a PWI, and there's nothing wrong with the PWI, but there's just nothing better than going to an HBCU. And I knew that's where I needed to be surrounded by the Black excellence. So that fuels me in my studies because I see my peers are going off to be engineers and doctors and architects and vice presidents and presidents. So now I need to go and be amazing as well. So there's so much unity at Howard, which I really appreciate.
that network. Begin building that network
Yeah.
is be extremely important.
Yes, we love a network at Howard. Howard loves a network. That's all we talk about.
Yes. Now, as one of the final questions I wanted to ask, and let Maria finish up also. But I wanted to ask you on. I'm going to give you a multiple choice question. What do you believe one of the major reasons, and you can expand if you believe that there's something additional, the downfall of part of the Black family? Do you believe it's social media, movies or TV, radio, music, or maybe even some of the welfare rules that they have in place, or anything that you believe you'd like to expand on?
So I love this question because I actually just took a class, and it's called, what was it called? It had to do, oh, mass incarceration in the Black family. That's what I do think is the biggest downfall to Black families, because Black men and Black women are incarcerated at a much higher rate than any other race
Mm-hmm.
for very minor and small things for such a long time. And during that class, I really learned that in the Black family, a lot of times it falls on the mother or it falls on the grandmother, or even the kids are experiencing behavior issues or just educational setbacks because of an incarcerated loved one for such a small crime. I think out of all those, I would have to pick my own answer because it's so true, especially in DC. I don't know if you guys have seen the film. It's called Date with Dad, and it's based in DC. It's on Netflix. It's a very moving film, but it's showing how so many fathers are incarcerated and they just want to be with their daughters, and so they have a dance in the prison for their daughters.
Mhm.
And after the film, it shows that most of those fathers who had that date day with their daughters never were incarcerated ever again because they made the commitment to themselves and their daughters, like, this is not where I want to be. So I definitely would have to say either that mass incarceration of Black people in general, and then also for sure music. it really like influences this toxic negative behavior, especially within relationships. So those would have to be my top two. Would be music and mass incarceration.
Fantastic, fantastic.
I agree.
I wanted to kind of piggyback on one of the things you said about the mass incarceration. If we as Black Americans begin to unify and not get ourselves into the justice, the justice system, getting locked up, then we could affect literally their money. We talk about blacking out the fourth and directing our spending, target based spending based on our values, but also, guys, just think about this: if we didn't go to jail, then those, because it is a private owned business, they would have less money. If we didn't have these violence against each other, the hospitals would have less doctors and nurses to make money. The prescription drugs, they would have less prescription drugs to feed us. We wouldn't have all of these fees. The funeral homes, there would be less funerals. We could affect the economy by just unifying and not having and not entering into another way of having to spend money. Just by unifying, we don't even realize the hospital bills that we're not able to pay for years, just because someone had a violent situation. So brothers, kings, queens, princesses. One of the first things we need to do is utilize this mouth, and let's start calling each other's brothers and sisters, kings and queens, because the power of the tongue will drive us. If we begin to call, like I call your mother sis, hey sis, that makes you my niece. That makes
Yeah.
you my niece. So let's call each other brother. Let's call each other sister. That makes sure, and it does happen because I asked a question as far as, remember I asked as far as it takes a neighborhood to build to build a village, and I asked you
Yeah.
who in our neighborhood would come to us and tell us about our children, and guess what she said?
June.
Was it my mom?
Oh, believe me, I know your entire life.
But that is a great thing.
I'm
And
sure you do.
Yes, but
your
that
mother
Yeah.
phenomenal.
loves talking about her baby, and I do not blame her
Yeah.
at all. She can keep talking because you do some amazing things for a young lady, and you have a lot of discipline. It's going to
Thank you.
go a long way.
Yeah.
Oh, and also,
Yes.
can we stop using the N word? Can we? Can we please stop calling each other names?
Yes.
And the B word.
Yes.
We need to stop doing that. We
Yes.
are
Oh, especially young men
yeah,
calling women
yes.
the B word. It's not okay.
It's not okay.
It is not.
It is not.
But you know what?
Hold,
Just like
hold on. Let me put you on the big screen. Let me put you on the big screen, Chelsea. Tell them again. It is what?
It is not okay for young men to be calling young women the B word. It's horrible.
it is horrible, and we have to stop calling ourselves the B word. When I was a young girl, your age, if you called me a bee, I was going to fight you. That's how it was. Those were fighting words. That was the most disrespectful thing you could call a woman. Then it became a term of endearment.
It is not a term of endearment.
You know,
That was a way to control.
I'm
That
a
was
bad
At
bee.
all.
This, I'm a that.
that was a way
No.
to control the narrative. It is not a
Right.
term of endearment.
Right. And after this incident with this woman calling the child the N word, recently I went on one of the podcasts, and and all the people were saying was, "Well, you call yourself that. What difference does it make? You all call each other that all the time, but we can't say it." And they were constantly saying that over and over again. And I thought, why can't they use it? We use it all the time, and I know that supposedly we use it as a term of endearment, or you're my that's my boy or whatever. I don't understand it because you use it when you're angry, you use it when you're happy, you use it, when you're just in the kitchen cooking, you know. I don't get because I
Yeah.
don't we don't
Mm-hmm.
use that. I don't call anybody in here a B, and I don't
I
call
wish
anybody
I
in
wish
here
I
N.
would. My life insurance policy would need to kick in if I attempted that.
You would be gone. You would be gone. No, no, no.
Yes, yes. Well, Chelsea, we thank you again for stopping by, and
Or
we appreciate.
thank you for having.
Yes. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we go for today?
No, I would just encourage everyone to just be passionate in life, no matter your age, no matter where you are in life. If you're in school, if you're out of school, if you dropped out of school, just find your passion and
Mhm.
stick with it and run with it and don't let anybody tell you no.
Yes,
Agree.
yes. Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for spending some time with us. Hopefully, this information, you could take this information, share it with someone who could really utilize this information, especially if you are going into the fields of journalism, or if you're going to the fields of being an agent, the
Mhm.
beauty pageant. What does it take? If someone is thinking in that area, please share this video with them, because we need more black unity. We need more black pride. We need more black excellence, which is being shown by Miss Chelsea Chambers.
We need more black competition among our young people, to know that they are wonderful, that they are beautiful, that they're intelligent, and they need to get out there. So, moms, dads, cousins, aunties, if any of you have any children that act like Rumi, what's that little baby?
Who?
Beyonce's daughter.
Oh, I don't know the name.
Oh,
She gets out there, she's so excited about being on stage, and I just saw a video where they toned her down, and I just felt like they shouldn't have done that to that baby. She's only 7 years old, and I think she's going to be even better than her sister Blue because she has the enthusiasm of her mama, and they should not take it away. They were even going hard on this young lady, saying that she's got a issue, which I don't believe. She's a 7 year old excited little girl. Don't steal anybody's joy. My family out there, don't steal kids' joy. You can calm it down or you work with it, but don't shut them down. Don't do that because you are taking something away from them when you do that.
All right, guys. All right, this is partner Frankie P.
This is Maria P.
And remember, when you change your perspective.
Hold on now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We didn't even talk about Blackout the Fourth.
Oh, okay.
What,
Yes.
what are you doing?
Oh.
That's the whole point of this.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. We're moving up towards Blackout the Fourth. And what is Blackout the Fourth? You do ask. Blackout the Fourth is a movement where on the fourth of each month we are not spending any money. We're not spending any money at all. As a total per year, we spend 2.6 trillion, which breaks down. I'm sorry, we spend 1.2 trillion, which breaks down to 2.6 billion dollars per day that we spend in the African American and the Black community. What we're looking to do is move those dollars. We're looking to move those dollars to more Black or allied businesses. Okay, spend those dollars with Black or allied businesses. On the fourth, we're asking you to spend no money. So on the third of each month, that's where we are asking you to direct those dollars, whether you need to gas up, whether you need to make your sandwich for the next day, whatever it takes for you to not spend any money on the fourth. If we continue to do this, drip by drip by drip by drip, we could affect an economy on a daily basis, at least once per month, $2.6 billion. Once we begin to do that, our voices will be listened to. I guarantee you, our voices will begin to be listened to. So that's what we're asking you to do.
Yeah, so be diligent, you guys. Start looking for Black and allied businesses to do business with. Um, did we find any other ones? this week. We've been
No,
really busy
we
in the
went to
last
the
three
Indian. We went
weeks.
to the Indian.
Yeah, we
the Indian restaurant.
went to the Indian restaurant today.
Yes.
Ally Business. Food was wonderful.
Yes.
But we every week we try to find a black-owned business to do business with, whether small or big. The next place I'm going to see the ice truck. The ice truck down the street from my
Oh,
house.
okay. Okay.
I'm going to ask him to. Gabby's having her final end of the school year party, so I'm going to ask him to supply the treats. But I could have gone to Rita's and asked them to give me 60 cups of ice.
Shop
No.
locally in your neighborhood. Shop locally in your community. Find it, and it does. It takes some time to find out a black business that you can support. It doesn't have to be a big business. It could be a small creator on one of your platforms, whether it be Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. If you have a creator that you like, support that creator. Send them a small donation, because believe me, that donation can help them stay afloat, to keep a camera person, to keep an audio or a sound person. They need to get that word out there, and the only way they can continue to get that word out is through your support. Okay.
So let's just be mindful of where we spend our money, who we spend our money with, and if you do run into a black-owned business, and you know how they have an attitude or something,
you're not
like
getting
that.
The best service.
Yeah, you're not getting the best service that you believe that you should get, and also check your own self, because sometimes we go on with an attitude. Talk to the owner.
Don't put them on display.
Right. Send a message to the owner and talk to them, so that we can see what we can do as a community to do better. Okay. To better ourselves.
Yes, and we're just asking you to go to the website www.blackoutthefourth. That's 4th, blackoutthefourth.com. Simply take the pledge that you will not spend any money on the 4th of each month. This is starting on the 4th of July. This is beginning on the 4th of July. We're not spending any money leading up to that, just to get in practice. So if you'd like to come along and just join the ride with us, just go to www.blackoutthefourth.com. Simply take the pledge, your name, email address. Let us know that you're taking the pledge. And the more people that we have, if you have a business that you would like to submit to us, a black business or an ally business, please leave that in the comments also, so we can give them a shout out also. Okay?
Well, thank you so much, Chelsea, for coming on.
Thank you
we appreciate you.
Yes, Jake, thank you again to Miss DC USA. Miss DC Team USA 2024, Miss Chelsea Chambers.
Reigning Queen.
We appreciate her for stopping by. And so, guys, remember, when you change your perspective, you change your life. When you change your perspective, you change your life. When you change your perspective with black pride, black economics, black power, black unity, and guess what'll happen? We're going to change your life. Peace.